And we should be live.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the JumpCrouch podcast. I'm hosting again this week because Matt is still lifing. And joining me this week is our usual host, Jacob.
And we should be live.
Hola.
And joining him is also our usual host,
Hello.
Abby.
Greetings.
And our absolutely is never going to host, Frank.
Yo.
Yeah, thank you for that. Just in case you wonder why I made that joke, what is your nickname, Frank? Given to you by our good friend Daniel?
I've got many, but I think we'll go with Word Cannon on this one.
Yeah. Is that still the name of your rogue?
One of my many rogues.
I actually really dig that name. Especially for our rogues, when they gave them the... don't tell me. No, I don't care. The swashbuckling subclass.
What was combat? And is then
Yeah.
Pirate Rogue.
Yeah, is it Outlaw they called it?
Outlaw, that's the one.
That's it, right. Not that I would know. It's been a minute since I played World of Warcraft.
I just wonder what you were talking about.
Yeah, sorry. Mr. Pandaria Classic came out this week. I did not know.
And nobody noticed. I saw a lot of the OGs getting back into it, and I also was reminded very quickly, while the gameplay might have been all right, that that was kind of the point where the game was kind of at its peak I'm a mess stage, you know? I think they just brought in the new talent system at that point.
A lot of people like that, though. Like, it's weirdly enough, and I, for what it is worth, I agree with you. The too many talents, and we'll not spend long in. Well, we'll just go very, very brief diversion. But yeah, a lot of people love Mr. Pandada because it had so many talents. I think it was insane the amount of talents they've expected you to use. Ability, sorry.
It was a catch-22. They got rid of the old talent trees because there are so many talents. It's really confusing, and people min-max, so everyone's picking the same talents anyway. So what we'll do is we'll just give everyone baseline, and then they introduced, like, what was it, 16 or 18 new individual talents with quite a lot of variation among the classes. But it wasn't like, 1% more damage. It was like, hey, here's 3 completely wild off-the-wall things that you have to choose between, and they're all completely different. It was so confusing.
Yep. And they continued that on until Dragonflight, wasn't it?
I've not used the new system, and that is the first one I didn't play, so we'll go with yes.
Yeah, I didn't play Shadowlands. Was the old system still in Shadowlands?
Yeah,
like,
basically.
Pick 3, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll stop talking about it because we're just getting great. So, what has everybody been playing this week? Just because I know you were busy this weekend, we'll start with Abby, because I might as well go quick.
Yeah, I haven't been playing much. I have started replaying Stray on stream, so that's been really fun. And I binge watched season 2 of Sandman. Over on Twitch, Starbuck_C17. Currently playing Stray when I'm not busy at the weekends.
Which is most weekends, unfortunately.
I've got a quiet one this coming weekend, so hoping to get back on then. And I currently don't have anything that I'm binge watching, which does sometimes get in the way of streaming. Sometimes I just want to, lie on the sofa and resemble a potato for a bit, rather than engage with people.
Absolutely. That's one of our many freedoms we get in this country, since they're all shrinking. So, just Stray you've been playing?
Yeah, that is literally it. No Helldivers, no Space Marine, nothing. Quite disappointing. I'll make up for it this week.
Jacob, what have you been playing the past few weeks?
There's been a few. On the Xbox, I've been, I've had Crash Bandicoot 4 for ages. I just never got around to finishing it. So I've been playing that. Did a bit of Metal Slug Tactics, and also there was a sale on the Nintendo store. So I got all the expansion packs for Dead Cells. So been playing that. It's a really good game. I recommend it. And then I also bought The Thing Remastered,
There's a game of the thing.
Yeah, it came out. When did it? I think it came out like 2003.
Oh,
Yeah, this was one of the release titles or close to it for the PlayStation 2, if I remember right.
Yeah, this was back in like, we have X thing, we'll just make a survival horror game. Like, it was when survival horror games were getting very saturated.
is it any good?
Yeah, I've actually enjoyed it. It's one of those games I was meant to get ages, but then it just forgot about it. Then saw they were doing a remaster for it, so I was like, okay. I absolutely love the film. It's one of my favorite horror films. So I was going to wait until the deluxe version came out, kind of hoping it was going to go on the Xbox, but no, the deluxe version was only on the PS5 or the Switch, so I got it for the Switch. But no, it plays very well. It looks better than it was. They made a couple of changes here and there, but you sort of can tell it was a game from that era via the controls and style. But no, I'm very happy with it. I got it for the Switch, just so at least I could play it anywhere. So happy with that. I'll probably get it on the PC as well at some stage, but no, I can highly recommend it.
Here's a question, actually. Have you installed your new graphics card yet?
Oh.
That's a no. What are you playing at?
I told you I've been on the Xbox and the Switch, so.
Well, I'm going to say
completely unrelated.
I'll save you right now by saying that Matt says hi in the chat.
Ah.
Hello, Matt.
Hello. But no, I will do the graphics card this week. You can hold me to that.
Mm-hmm. Shame on you.
Yes, add it to the long list.
Yeah, Matt says Jacob sort it out and install it.
Or take it back. There are starving children in Africa who could do with that graphics card.
Yeah, Tony's going to take it back if you don't install it.
It's got a good distance to come and get it, but...
We'll send DPD for it.
I suppose.
And they'll take kneecaps. They've got nothing better to do. They're losing the delivery wars to Amazon. They'll do anything.
Yeah. Especially when they have to go to get to you.
Yeah.
They'll already be annoyed.
The kneecapping comes free when you have to travel off island.
Yeah, just turn into Ben Stiller, Happy Gilmore. Apparently, the second one's really bad, to a shock of no one.
They gave, I saw Offset, they gave Shooter McGavin a golden blazer. You know, the sort of famous golden blazer. I'm like, why is it 2025 and he doesn't have that already? Or would if you went to his house, would you find his stolen golden blazer there already? It seems ridiculous he just didn't get a walk away from set after the first movie with that, right?
I mean, it would make sense, but like, I know wardrobe departments are really, really like, they make sure they get their stuff back because it costs money.
As the amount of things that people have stolen, I'm fairly sure this entire Iron Man suit's missing.
Oh, probably. But I mean, if Robert Downey Jr. walks off set, what are you going to say to him? No, like, he just turns around and says, "No, you shut it.
Your franchise
you
owes me."
Yeah, like Robert Downey Jr. is on a Marvel set and tells you to go away, and off you go. Yeah, I will also recommend Dead Cells. Just to go back to what Jacob was saying, I really enjoyed it.
I played so much Dead Cells.
Yeah, and I never finished it either.
No. I've done, 73 runs and only ever completed it once.
What's completed?
But it is...
Yeah, you never complete that game, do you?
Maybe. But it's just from the stats that it do. It's just like completed runs, one. It's like, yeah, I don't have a great success rate on that game, but it is really good and perfect game for on the go.
I have logged.
Totally forgot they did a
87
Castlevania
hours.
crossover.
Yeah, I still need to get that DLC.
I was just checking my hours played there as well. Yeah, I had 30 hours.
I thought I'd played it more than 87 because I went through a phase of just playing it non-stop.
6.1 for me.
Yeah,
Wow.
big scrub.
How have I got the most playtime on a game?
It doesn't say what I've done on the Switch, but I know it's out to the games listed. It is the highest. Well, it's in the top spot for most played.
It seems like a perfect Switch game, honestly.
Yeah.
Mm.
I played mine on played it on the Steam Deck. I
I
tried to play it on
Steam Deck as
PC and it just didn't feel right.
Yeah, also a Steam Deck was perfect for it as well.
Yeah, Steam Deck's one of the best bits of kit to come out in the past, decade. I think it's finally pushed forward PC gaming in an unusual way.
It makes a lot of sense, though. Like, you just look at the success of the Switch and you think, why can't PCs do that? And apparently someone at Valve did it as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting that now they've pushed forward the mobile handheld market so much. I mean, Windows essentially are having to directly compete now with Linux.
I mean, I am.
Valve's much time on.
Yeah, like I'm still on Windows 10 right now, and I'm considering whether to switch to Windows 11 or just get Steam.
Yeah, I'm still on Windows 10. I've been resisting.
Mm.
I'm on 11 and been there a while. I don't care. Like after Windows 7 went away, my soul it was no longer in it. My heart left that. Windows 7 was the best Windows OS I've seen in a long time, and it was heartbreaking that it had to go away.
I was a fan of XP myself.
XP was fine. XP was absolutely fine, but Windows 7 had some really cool features, like when you typed things into the search box, it would find something. Like that crazy.
That's crazy talk.
I was just going to say,
What is this madness?
You're talking crazy, Frank. Speaking of Frank, what have you been playing?
Quite a lot. Just in general hobbying. I finally finished my Store Boys kit bash for Warhammer, and I have 80 to 90% completed doing a model called Zodgrod Wartsnaga, whose name is as weird as the guy looks. Yeah, dude, I'm going to have to wear my Norman Reedus mask. This name is wild.
Oh, there's so many things in orcs are just so weird. That's part of the thing I love about orcs, is just how weird their names are.
Oh yeah.
You continue on. I'll bring up a list of how weird names they have.
Please do. So I was playing Dune Awakening, but it's kind of going on the back burner. It's not bad by any means, but I'm like 200 hours deep into it, and the end game still needs to evolve. So probably going to take a break and go back 6 to 12 months when they've really fleshed that out. Still worth the money though. It's like 40 quid. Definitely worth the money. I tried to get back into Magic the Gathering via Arena, and I've been chatting to Pete about this a lot. I have such a burning hatred for what they've done to the game now. It is, to quote Henry saying, it is the greatest card game ever made. But somehow they've managed to botch it by releasing just really boring cards. It's very strange, but I'll stick with it. See if it's just my lack of knowledge that's hurting it. There's been a few other games I've been trying to get back into. Battlefield, which I suppose we'll talk about a little bit. I've been trying to get back into Battlefield games. Tried Battlefield 1 and it wasn't doing it for me. And I've noticed been a bit of a resurgence in Battlefield 5 as well. But I don't own Battlefield 5 because at that point I was already burnt out of the franchise. So Battlefield 1, a couple of games of that, remembered why I uninstalled it again. But probably the two games most interesting, Killing Floor 3 and Supervive. I'm not sure if everyone will know what Killing Floor 3 is.
Yeah,
but
I'm
Supervive
interested in Killing Floor 3 because I was thinking about getting that.
So Killing Floor 3's reviews on Steam are not great. Now I've only played a couple of hours of it, so I'm not an expert. But the reviews on Steam, a lot of the really negative reviews are people who've played less than 2 hours, which makes me think they've, bought it, played it, not liked it, and immediately binned it. I've been playing Killing Floor since KF1. Like I used to, back in my unemployed, double depresso days, I'd be playing that by myself with random Americans at like 3 in the morning. It was like one of those games. And to be honest, if you are losing your sanity slowly, Killing Floor makes a lot more sense. So I played Killing Floor 2 a whole bunch. it was a Christmas tradition, nothing says
Yeah, I miss
Christmas.
that.
Yeah, nothing says Christmas like mutants with Santa hats on. By the way, the past 2 years they've not enabled Christmas mode, not even like new Christmas content, but not even turned on the Christmas models, so they really burnt a bridge there. Then on Killing Floor 3, started playing that and had to look at some of the complaints from it. We can get to that in more detail if anyone's interested, but people are really having a go at it. But I think the problem is that there's quite a lot in Killing Floor 3. It's quite dense. If anything, it's lost some of the simplicity of Killing Floor 1 and 2. And it's definitely much more console friendly. It definitely seems like it's borrowed from COD Zombies in terms of some of the the gameplay aspects. But it's quite dense and it's not really obvious. You go through like a 20-minute tutorial which teaches you how to left click, how to right click, and how to crouch, instead of telling you really important things like, hey, by the way, every weapon has like 20 add-ons and it completely changes what the weapon does depending on what you're going to and what ones you equip. So basically, even though you think you've got 4 guns, you've got like 40 guns. And it doesn't bother telling you this because instead it reinforces how to crouch. And I think a lot of people are missing out on that because if you play for a bit longer, you go, this just wasn't covered in the tutorial. So I think there's a lot of depth here. It'll get better. And the other word game I've only played the tutorial for it is Supervive. And Supervive reminds me very heavily, if you're a proper old gamer, then you'll remember Bloodlines Champions. And if you're not quite that old, you'll remember Battle Right on Steam. Which is similar to some of these sort of top-down action games. The sort of you got your WASD to move around, you got your buttons to push for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever for your controls, but your mouse is like free spinning. I think maybe Helldivers 1 was a bit like that. But the game is like a battle royale game type, but it's sort of like World of Warcraft Arena meets battle royale. Meets King of the Hill. It's an interesting combination. I think it could really go somewhere, and it might actually end up if becoming the next big thing. It's very much in danger of that happening to it. So I'm going to give that a bit of a shot because I'm way more excited about that than I was about the MOBA that Valve released, and I don't even know where that's gone. So a busy few weeks of gaming.
Every couple of weeks when I look at Steam stats, I see it getting played. That's Valve's MOBA. I mean, it's not Dota. I think I played like a couple of matches of it. I'll wait and see how it turns out.
Some people loved it, but just it never really clicked with me. There's just something about it. I think it's because I've said this before. If it's a shooter game, it's going to appeal to Counter-Strike 2 kids, and it's a shooter game where being better at aiming doesn't actually guarantee you anything. If anything, it is quite weird when you're playing the game and then as 10, 15, 20 minutes into the game goes on, you're shooting people and it's just having no effect. It feels ineffective, you don't get that feeling in other MOBAs. In other MOBAs, it's quite clear what's happening. In this game, it's just like, well, your shooting doesn't do anything anymore. It's not a great experience. I think they kind of need to work out some of the kinks in that way.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully they can get around to it. I'm not putting much stock into it at the moment.
They've not flopped yet, or at least have not flopped in a long time. So I imagine if they can't fix it, they'll bin it because they won't put out something that's bad. Or they'll take some of the stuff from it that works and they'll put it into other developments as they've done in the past.
Yeah. Oh God, I checked it. It's almost been a year since I played it.
What? Really?
Yeah, I just checked them. 25th of September. That is wild. It's been that long.
I can't even remember what it's called now I think about it.
Deadlock. Yeah. Does it have a Steam? Yeah, you can't even. You still need to be invited to it. I'm pretty sure. Like
Really?
it doesn't have. Yeah, it's
27th of September, and the last major update was in May.
I mean, that makes sense. To be fair, if it was me. But yeah, some fun orc names for you. So there's Boss Skrignut. There's the Death Dread. That is not death. It's deaf, as in DEFF. Dread. You'll find all the orc names are like this. Another fun one, Mogs Rogs Gragbad.
That's a good one.
And then there's the Beast Snagger Boys. Orc Burner Boys. Spelled with an A rather than ER. Let's see if I can actually pronounce this one. Rocker Truck Squig Buggy.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah. If you think you know how to spell it, no, you don't. Mega Knobs.
Nice.
Because, there's
You
also
can't
knobs.
pass by. Yeah, you can't pass by knobs and mega knobs.
Yeah, there's knobs, but you don't need knobs. Like, knobs are out, mega knobs are in. And just the last one, everybody's favourite, the Stomper. Which, if you have not seen it, you need to go and check it out, because it is utterly ridiculous.
It's a walking armoured dress.
Yeah. I think, imagine, like, as a kid, you would, like, make, like, a fun thing of, like, Play-Doh or something like that, or just build it out of scrap bits of wood, something like that, and just be like, oh, this is a big thing, it's got so many guns on it. That's actually true. That's just what they did. It's the rocks, and it works because they think it does.
You missed one of the classics there as well, which is Gazgul Thraka, or I believe it's Gazgul Mag Urug Thraka, who was named to sound like his name was Margaret Thatcher back in the day. And it's a particularly hilarious and gnarly orc at that.
Yeah. Isn't he just at this point only the head?
I had heard that was a story. Like the story was that his head got chopped off and it landed on a dreadnought, like a big armored suit of armor, and that let him continue, being alive. Which is like some seriously orky shit. But the most current models, it looks like he might actually have a body. And in the 40k lore, supposedly orcs used to be a really advanced, powerful race in terms of, they were used for war. But the thing about orcs is that the more they fight, the bigger they get, and it's never been seen how big an orc can get. So it's kind of a theory that he might be on his way to becoming like an orc primarch, or primarch. They call it, or a primorc.
Primal.
Yeah. I mean, there's been bigger orcs before.
I thought he's the largest.
Yeah, no, the War of the Beast. I think that's what it was called, or something. Oh, something of the Beast. They had the orcs that showed up in Terra, who were like super smart.
I wonder if that's been retconned yet.
No, it can't be, because that's where Vulcan died. Actually,
That does sound like some of the classic old ones fighting, Necrons versus orcs or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah, I think because, sorry, getting through a bit of Warhammer lore, orcs are kind of, I don't know if they were engineered this, but it just happened. Orcs are like a pressure valve on the galaxy, and that if somebody gets too big and powerful, the orcs will get more big and more powerful to rise up against them and knock them back down. But because orcs like to fight with themselves, if they beat everybody else down, it's just the orcs, they can't take over because they'll just fight themselves and they'll bring themselves down. It's almost like they go down to their enemy or rise up to their enemy.
They just like a proper fight.
Aye.
It's a good... What's that word? I've forgotten the word that they like. It's a word for a fight.
Oh, crumping.
Oh yeah, a good crumping. And by the way, if anyone's not tried it, the Speed Freaks game on Steam is good fun, and it is incredibly orky. I didn't get a chance to play much of it. I was in the beta, and I really enjoyed what I played. Definitely needed some fleshing out, but just at the core of the game, it was just big vibes of like Burnout meets Twisted Metal type thing. Really, really.
Oh, there's a thing I've not heard in years, unless it's a TV
Oh
show.
yes. Oh yes.
Twisted Metal. Apparently next season, it's coming out like next week, I think.
Didn't even know it was a show.
I get good reviews. I didn't watch it, but I probably get really good reviews, from what I remember. So just to go over what I played. I installed eventually, after weeks and weeks of trying, I eventually got that 2 terabyte hard drive installed. So I've
the same one.
Yep. It was on Amazon deal.
Bingo. Yeah.
Yep. So I got that installed. So I've just been downloading a whole bunch of games and just playing through them again.
And you got
so
Battlefront 2 again.
I did, yes. I've got that installed.
Yeah, I want to play some of that.
Yeah, so if there's anything that you want to say to me to install, I now have like a terabyte free,
Nice.
even after all the games I've installed. So let me know and I'll install it. Which included last night downloading the Master Chief Collection to play through.
Yes.
I've been playing through the single player that I've reached up to the most recent one, which is no, I've done chronological order, not on release order. Greeno and I were playing through it. We're on I believe it's Infinite just now. So we're playing through the storyline for that.
I've only played the multiplayer for Infinite. I haven't even looked at the story.
No, I didn't either.
It's been pretty all right so far. It's a definite departure from Halo's usual style of gameplay, but it's nothing revolutionary. You'll enjoy it, I think. Anyway,
It sort of reminded me of was it Far Cry?
Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War for me.
Ah, right, fair enough.
That's the kind of feelings I got from it.
Yeah, I might be interested then.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Matt was just asking what the game that you were saying it's on Steam, and now he's talking about Halo, which
for 40K, it's called Warhammer 40K Speed Freaks, I believe.
Okay.
It's a shame because I think you have to pay for it now, but I don't think I do because I played in the beta.
Yeah, I played the beta and it says I can install it, but it does make me wonder if you have to now pay for it.
I've not tried to play it.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I've only got about 4 hours on it, but the beta, while fun, only one of the game modes is finished. They had the Stompa game mode, which was hilarious. It's basically you get a Stompa each, which is just this big, as we described, big massive walking, metal like fortress just running around. And if you get too close to it, it just blows you up. But the idea is that you're basically playing football, and the goal is to take a bomb and just slap it into a Stompa. And the most effective way of doing that is to strap it to your car and drive into it, which is holy orky.
It does sound quite fun.
It's very much a game that a few drinks, sit one Friday night, you and your friends will have a great time.
Remember we used to do that in, Battlefield, was it either 2 or 3? You used to throw C4 at your truck and just drive it towards the tank.
It's now a whole thing. It's like a proper whole thing, right? People are sick of it. Alan was a spectacular, kamikaze. What was it they called it? Kazi Jeeps or something like that. There's like a name for it. I'm sure Tony remembers it because it was memed on in the Battle Heroes in the Battle Heroes videos that we used to watch.
I miss Battlefield 2.
Can I just do a quick Battlefield style tangent?
I mean, we're going to get into it in the news, but if you want to get into it now, we can.
We have a Battlefield theme for the episode, so I think that's fair.
Maybe this will help them, but sometimes you just feel old about things. Like you read something, and like for example, someone had this life hack, and the life hack was when you go to the cinema, not cinema, what am I talking about? Supermarket, and they sell herbs. Get the herbs, but you can buy them fresh in a pot.
Mm-hmm.
And they said instead of having to buy lots of herbs, take it out of the pot and plant it in your garden. Now you can grow all the herbs you need and never have to pay again. And I'm like, did this Gen Z just think they've invented farming?
Oh God!
Is this where we're at? Yeah, I've had one of those moments with Battlefield. Someone's posted on Reddit basically saying they love the feel of these Battlefield 5 maps. Like they feel so cinematic. I'm like, that's Operation Metro. It's been out for 15 years. You child.
Yeah.
It's as if it's like a Battlefield 5 invention. Honestly, I think Battlefield 5 is probably the most popular game with people who hate Battlefield normally because it's not a Battlefield game. It's such a weird game. It's so popular with such a strange crowd of folk as well.
Yes, Matt, I am old. And I was reminded of that last week when we were talking about there was I was at my RPG group and we were talking about a film. I think it may have been Happy Gilmore or it was something like that, but I remember just whatever it was like, oh yeah, referencing this film from like 1995. And one of the girls at the table were just like, I wasn't even born then. I was just like, oh, don't say that.
That's
Don't
just
say that.
painful.
Oh, it absolutely is. Absolutely was. I was just like, I might have been just about to enter high school when that came out, and you're telling me that. Don't tell me that.
Wait, you weren't entering high school. You were 8? Wait, no, 1995. No,
Yeah.
never mind. Yeah. Bad maths.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah,
I was
95 may have been
7.
exaggeration. Yeah, I was 9. Yeah. Yeah, I found a grey hair in my beard yesterday.
What, is that your first
already?
one?
Is that
That's my first.
What do you mean already?
Really?
Like, he's done well if he's lasted this long.
I know. Oh, my hair disappeared, fast. My hair just
First times for me came in when I was at 26. So
yeah, my hair 21. It was just decided, hey, what if you weren't black anymore? What if your hair was white? And I just started doing that. It's still there, which is good, but yeah, it's at this point it's just pretty much all white. Yeah, my back hurts. That's all fun.
you could go for the the Alistair Darling effect with your hair. Was it white hair on the top and black eyebrows?
Yeah, I'm going the reverse, Alistair Darling, because my eyebrows are going grey, but the hair on my head is not. So
That sounds more painful because it's easier to dye your hair than it is your eyebrows. I would imagine.
I think you just get people to do it for you. I wouldn't dare dye my own eyebrows. But then I might end up with like slug eyebrows. Like they were all the rage with women for a while, weren't they? So maybe I'll just leave them alone and let them be grey.
Oh, but they were just shaving their eyebrows and just painting them on. Yeah.
Well, a lot of that was because, like my generation, when we were younger, tweezed their eyebrows until they were like super thin. And the funny thing about if you tweeze eyebrows too much is they don't grow back. So there's a lot of women like my age that literally have to draw their eyebrows on. Or you can tattoo them on as well, I think. A fun fact for you. I did not tweeze my eyebrows.
That's probably smart. Means you can get out in the rain without blinding yourself. Yeah, so that's what we played this week. So why don't we get into some news? So remember how we were talking about the Outer Worlds? Well, we're all looking forward to it because it looked kind of cool. But then they announced it was going to be $80. And we all thought that was really, really dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Guess who else thought it was really, really dumb? Honest, they definitely changed their mind. It wasn't because the pre-orders were doing dog shit. Microsoft, who announced that the game is now back to $70, which is £60 here.
That's funny, that.
I'm just surprised that the dollar price is different from the pound price, because once you take into account VAT, I feel like they just end up costing the same with a world over anyway.
Yeah, I double checked it on Steam. Yeah, £60. Or if you know where to go, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you just get it on Game Pass.
That has to be the intention of it, right? Because Outer Worlds 1 was a relatively quick playthrough. It's also a day one release, on the Game Pass as well. I think trying to charge £80 wasn't it? I remember it being on Game Pass very, very early.
Maybe it was early. I don't remember it being on Game Pass straight away. Maybe it was. To be fair, maybe I just didn't pick it up because it wasn't on Game Pass back then. Because I think Outer Worlds would have been pretty much the only game on it.
It might get mixed up with that and the Outer Wilds. Maybe I am.
Maybe you are, yeah. A lot of people do that. You have to be very careful because they're released in the same year. I think they're released within like 2 or 3 months of each other as well. And even though they both deal with space, they are very different games. Yeah, I never finished. In fact, I didn't finish either of them. I got to the final mission at the Outer Worlds and then just didn't do it. I think
That sounds like Starfield.
I did not play that much of Starfield. I think I played like maybe 5-6 hours, get bored.
Yeah, I went on side missions, but I definitely got the storyline to the point where it was like, hey, this is definitely going to be the last mission. And I was like, I better go do some side quests. And then didn't play the game anymore.
Yeah, nah, you didn't miss much from what I can see. Man. God damn it, Bethesda. I think I remember I did one of the first. The problem was I played it after Baldur's Gate 3, and it wasn't fair to it. It just was not fair to it. But I remember I played through like the first big story thing, and you go through like a big structure, and I think I got about there was like 3 levels of this structure, and I got on the second level. I was just casually picking up some good weapons, and the way to pick up a weapon says, "Oh, your inventory is full." I was like, "Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious with me right now, Todd?" I checked my inventory and I had like I think about a half dozen weapons in it. I was like, "Are you fucking serious? Are you actually fucking doing this, Todd? I cannot believe you're actually making me do this."
Was one of them just really heavy?
No, they were all like, but I think my max capacity I could carry was like 150, and each gun was like 20
Oh,
each. I cannot fucking believe you're doing this to me. You're embarrassing me.
There's plenty of skills to deal with that sort of stuff, but honestly,
Yeah, but I don't want to pay spells for that.
fair. That's fair. Can I have a bigger backpack, please? Do I have to talent into that, or can I just buy a bigger backpack?
Todd. Anyway, so we are not at our awful $80 future just yet. It is coming, but apparently the first foray into it that wasn't a Nintendo game has been rebuffed. Although speaking of Nintendo, did anyone see the amount of consoles they've sold already?
no, I
Switch
haven't
2,
seen that
yeah.
actually, no.
5 million.
That's a pretty wild amount.
It's the outselling, I think, every other console in history at this point.
It's probably the most shocking thing about that is that Nintendo have actually produced enough units to sell for the first time in history.
Yeah, I think that's also another thing about it is that they did say, "Oh, we're going to have plenty of units," which is normally you've heard that before. Like, we heard that about pretty much every console release. Apparently, they were right this time. They actually did make a shit ton.
They probably figured. I mean, looking at the lifetime of the Switch One, and given that how long it took for the Switch, for the OLED to come out, the Switch Lite, they probably figured that they had a good 3-4 years of console production before they even had to consider any changes to hardware. And I would bet that they got some spectacular deal for just creating 1 million of them, and then 5 million of them, and then just having somewhere to store them, instead of having to fire up the production lines and keep them running for years at a time.
Yeah.
There's also like we're talking about the handheld revolution as well. That's happening. So I'm oversimplifying it, but I don't see the need to own multiple of these handhelds anymore, because one of the things we can thank Microsoft for is they've really kicked down the doors between console or even OS exclusives. So these days, Nintendo, you've got access to such massive numbers of third-party games that you just didn't have before. I mean, I was a Switch One relatively early adopter, and the Switch store was extremely, extremely limited. And as it always is with Nintendo consoles, very hard to get games on a Nintendo console. So I kind of feel like if you're going to buy a handheld console, they're all going to be very much of a muchness in terms of power, and the games are all going to be very similar because people are going to be putting out their games, on multiple handhelds. If you don't ship your handheld quickly, there's a potential there that someone else comes in, comes in and sells a unit to someone who just goes, well, do I need a Switch? I've already got this.
Yeah, I don't really feel the need for a Switch, to be honest. Steam Deck's enough for me. I am interested in the ROG Ally Xbox X, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I've seen the latest tech tips videos about that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be expensive, but I'm tempted by that one as well.
Yeah, I think saying it's going to be expensive is pretty much just the accepted these days. Maybe we have to learn to adjust, but I also feel like getting anything for less than £500 or £600 these days is just not. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've accepted that. Oh, go on.
I was going to say, as the thing, the only thing that's kept me back from buying a Steam Deck is just the price. Because if I wanted one, I would get the most expensive one, and that is very close to £600.
The only difference between the most expensive one and the cheap one is the existence of the solid state hard drive in it. And
No,
there's two things to
the
say.
OLED screen as well.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
the
definitely handle
screen.
OLEDs.
Like I've
Oh,
got,
right.
I've got the cheap one, and Tony's got the expensive one, and you do see a difference with the screen.
Yeah, I don't have the OLED version. I've got one of the. I bought the mid-range original version. I think it was something like £380 at the time.
Yeah, they've still got an LCD screen, which is £350. But I'd want an OLED, and the price between a 500 gig and a 1 terabyte is like £90. And if I'm paying 480, I might as well just pay the extra 90 to get more space.
That's the point where it stops becoming a fun thing to have, and it starts becoming a real purchase, though.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
Like, I love my Steam Deck, but I don't know that I would pay, for the high-end versions of it, quite simply because I have it, I use it, but it's not my main, it's not my daily driver. I've already got a bloody expensive enough PC with a graphics card in it.
Yeah,
I get it, it's
like, that would be more expensive than my graphics card.
Yeah, which is shocking in this day and age. Your graphics card would be anywhere close to that. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, well, hopefully AMD the graphics cards come out and are very good for a more reasonable price than what Nvidia are charging.
I think something like only 10 or 20% of Nvidia's revenue now is generated from graphics cards. The rest of it is from essentially AI.
Oh, really?
So yeah, like it's the way it seems, because of course AI running
So
on
that'll be a house of cards that falls down eventually. Fantastic.
Well, you would hope that they would have invested that money, but I think the reason we're seeing such little, real growth in the sector is simply because Nvidia are at the top. They don't need to do any better. So what you're seeing is some pretty lackluster cards that essentially are just cranking up the power budget. Like you're having to have like 1,000-watt power supplies and stuff. It's essentially just like pre-overclocked cards.
Yeah, yeah. The prices are actually insane right now for the graphics cards.
Yeah, I heard a really interesting rumor as well that the past couple of years, Nvidia have been having an issue where, for a long time, they were paying their engineers bonuses and stocks, which doesn't cost them anything at the time. But these engineers they've had for a long time now have a lot of stocks, and those stocks are worth a lot of money. And these are the people who are at the forefront, cutting edge of this graphics design technology. So they are irreplaceable in terms of there is no one else out there to replace them. But these people are now millionaires. So why would they turn up and work in the engineering department at Nvidia when they can just cash in all their shares and be a millionaire? I'd heard that was stifling creativity and advancement, if you want to put it that way.
Sorry, I need to throw my mouth a little bit at corporate talk.
Hey, at least the little guys made it out, all right.
Yeah, I mean, good for them. Like nothing against them. So do we want to talk about Norman now?
Yeah, we could.
I'm a fan.
Oh, I'm also a fan of Norman Reedus.
I liked him in The Walking Dead.
I liked him in The Walking Alive.
But yeah, I put that story on just as a little light-hearted one. So maybe a bit of advice for people watching. But the Discord age verification checks can be bypassed by using photo mode in Death Stranding 2 because it's so realistic. So there's lots of pictures of Norman Reedus out there being used for age verification. I think as well in the photo mode, like, can't you even like make him open his mouth and stuff so it can actually fully bypass all the checks? That's what I saw in the article I was reading anyway.
I think so, yeah. That definitely. I mean, that sounds like something Kojima would have. I've not had a chance to get it yet or anything. But yeah, that definitely sounds like something that Kojima would put in his game. Because Kojima's weird like that.
The guy is genuinely unhinged these days.
Yeah. But yeah,
Speaking
like,
of Unhinged, have you seen the Snake Eater remake?
yes.
Have you seen the price?
Mhm.
Boy, you're out your damn mind.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's Konami. Konami is Konami, and Konami's the boss, as Stephanie Sullivan would say.
It's £70 if anyone wasn't aware, which is more expensive than the Outer Worlds, right?
Yeah, they didn't get the memo, so apparently their pre-orders must be doing well. Yeah, I love Sneak Eater, so I'll get that game eventually. I'm not paying £70 for it though.
I'm still only like a third of the way through. Not Ground Zeroes. I don't even want to talk about that. That wasn't a game, but Metal Gear Solid 5. I think it was.
Hmm.
The
Phantom Pain.
open world one, Phantom Pain. Yeah, I'm about a third of the way through.
Did you see that video of Death Stranding with Phantom Pain?
I did not.
Right. We're done. I'll link it to you. It's really good. But yeah, this is just the dystopian world we now live in. But we have to do stuff like that on the internet.
Although
that
on the
we
plus
need to, you know-
side, sales of or searches for VPNs have shot up in the UK.
Yeah, I did see that. I seen Proton's things. Oh, I'm sure it's just the football.
Yeah, definitely.
I have heard
100%.
some rumors about people using Opera GX. If anyone's not aware, Opera GX is a kind of gamer-focused browser. I don't use it personally. I have used it, and it seemed reasonable enough. But it has built-in VPNs, so essentially you
does
use the
it?
browser. There's like 2 clicks, and your browser is VPN enabled. So I don't know if it's reverse DNS or whatever, but I guess that's another way of just bypassing these these I'm using air quotes, but security safety features.
Mm.
Yeah, because why should it be up to parents to actually parent children anymore? Has to be up to the government to inconvenience the rest of us.
So stupid.
Yep.
This is literally like a 2 hour a 2 hour
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it a lot because it is such a vast subject and it gets into a very political subject and gets into very, very not gaming. I mean, there's plenty of gaming stuff about it, especially with the Visa MasterCard thing, which is tangentially related,
Oh
but
God,
also,
yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah, I don't know if I want to get into it because that is very political, that subject.
Well, we could always do a special episode on that.
Yeah. Who you vote for matters, people. That's all we can say.
Are you sure? I don't know that it actually matters anymore. That's kind of the problem.
I mean, in the UK, it doesn't, because both sides of the arsehole want the same thing. But, yeah. I don't know what to say. So, let's move on to something that's not as depressing. Yes, let's move on to something that's not as depressing. Jacob, why don't you tell us about the Hellraiser game? Something definitely not depressing.
So yeah, this came out of nowhere, but you picked
UK
up
law or
hard
hell?
news, Pete. But yeah, we're getting a Hellraiser game. So brought back was it Doug Bradley to voice Pinhead, and it's going to be a first-person survival. So instead of doing the trend like was it Evil Dead and what was the one I'm thinking of? Texas Chainsaw, where it's like it's asymmetric multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, this is a single-player, first-person survival horror. So it sort of give me Resident
Okay.
Evil 7 vibes.
Or Alien
So
Isolation.
for what I saw, yeah, but what I've seen from the trailer, it was only like was it a minute half, 2 minute trailer. It looked good, so I'm optimistic it'll be a good game. But I don't think there's any dates yet for it, so we'll have to wait and see when that comes out.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to keep to what you would expect from a Hellraiser game. I was listening to the Next London podcast, and how was it described? It's based obviously on Clive Barker, and Clive Barker kind of separates himself from the rest of the auteurs of horror, and that the rest of the auteurs of horror concentrate on horror and just lightly dabble in the nudie stuff. Which Clive Barker just goes full in on that. Clive Barker was described as the horniest of the masters of horror. Which, if you've read the subject of Hellraiser, it does make sense. Yeah, like the very first start of that trailer is the two characters post-coitus, I guess. So yeah, I think they're going to keep to that in theme at the very least. It also explains why Hellraiser got removed from Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
Is that not just reaching the end of its? I know they do usually a sort of timed a timed co-op thing. Did not just reach the end of that, or was it pulled with unexpectedly?
It just kind of came out of nowhere. It might have been the type of thing where it naturally came up to the agreement date, but I hadn't heard that it was coming up. But the fact that this game is coming out, a lot of people do that. Even though some do, some don't. They never removed Leatherface when the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game came out. Didn't remove Ash when the Ash vs. Evil game came out.
I was going to say the Friday the 13th stuff though, that went a bit differently, right?
Well, they would kill someone to get Friday the 13th in that game. And funnily enough, there is a Friday the 13th game coming out.
A new one?
Yes, it's going to be a prequel.
It's going to be what?
A prequel.
Thursday the 12th.
Ah.
If I could hit you, I would.
Don't be annoyed that I got there first. Choo choo, motherfucker.
So is this not like an asymmetrical game? This is completely different to...
I haven't had a chance to look into it. I just seen it was a prequel. See if I can find an article. It is coming from the people who made the Ash vs. Evil game, so it's possible. I hope not. Because Friday the 13th already had one of them. It was bad. You know it was bad, Alan. Not good stuff. But yeah, I think this is maybe a single player game. Hopefully.
Oh, okay.
If it's not that, if it's not an asymmetric game, I don't know. What would you do for a single player game? Would you? I guess you could make a super massive game. Until Dawn and the Quarry type thing.
That would be quite cool.
Yeah. I was actually going to bring them up later on, but since we've talked about them now, Supermassive have laid some people off. As their new game, Directive 8020, is getting pushed back to next year. That is the... I don't know if you've seen it from the Summer Games. It's like the thing in space, basically.
Yes, I remember, yeah. So that's been pushed back?
Yes. Yeah. Although, weirdly enough, they're making Little Nightmares 3, which I did not know. I'm pretty sure they didn't make 1 or 2.
No, I didn't know that either.
No. I don't know what's going on. I just remember seeing it in the article that they were making Little Nightmares 3. That's never a series I played or anything, but I know they are popular.
I've watched people play them. It's not something I'm bothered about playing myself.
Yeah. See, to be fair, I find that with most of the Supermassive games. And if I can find a streamer that I like to play through them, watch it, I will really enjoy it. But
yeah,
the idea of playing it, I'm like, I'm good. Yeah, I think the problem is though is that they seem to have peaked with the first game they made, because Until Dawn seemed just perfect for that type of game, perfect setting, perfect characters and everything, and they've just been chasing that high ever since. So that is that. So just other quick stories. Hades 2 is getting its final patch before full release. So it's not got a release date yet, but that could be this year.
Has it picked up any fan approval since? Because the last time we chatted about this, Hades 2 was not anywhere near as popular as the first one, which is a game I really enjoy.
Yeah, I loved Hades 1. Hades 1 was my game of the year. Year it came out. I absolutely adore that game. I don't know the reception anything yet. I know it's on Steam. I can't remember if it's going to be one of those weird things. I know the first one was when it was out on Epic at first, before it came to Steam, but I'm not sure. Like there is some weird stuff with it. I think like on consoles, it's only coming to the Switch, which I get, because if there's a Switch game, Hades is really up there with it. But to not put it on the other consoles, I guess Nintendo's giving them money, but it's also on PC, so I don't know. But yeah, that is coming soon. So hopefully that is good. And speaking of Magic, did you see what the Final Fantasy set did for them?
I did not.
Is the specifics of just how much Scrooge McDuck they're pulling?
Yes. So Magic's best-selling set before this was the Lord of the Rings set. The Lord of the Rings set made them $200 million in profit in
Wow.
6 months. Final Fantasy did that in a single day.
Oh.
So
What is going on with the packs with that? I saw the packs are like $30 each.
yeah,
Before gouging.
So the normal packs are even more expensive because the universe is beyond, so they think they can get away with charging more pack for the normal packs. That is scummy, and F them for that. But that's not the thing that's absolutely bonkers with them. So they also do like premium packs where you get rarer cards, and some of those rarer cards are serialized cards, I think they're called. Those serialized cards sell for tens of thousands of dollars because there's only so many, and it will tell you on it like what number they are. So I think there's the chase cards, like one of the chocobos. I think there's like 700 in total. And if you pull one of them, you think like 40 grand each. So because of that, scalpers have now just completely destroyed that market. So a set of packs which should cost you, I think, about $200 to $300 to buy, are now costing you $1,200.
Great.
And you will not make $1,200 back on the cards that are in that. The only way you'll make it back is if you put one of those serialized cards. But because you get
They're
such
all
a
accounted for now, though, aren't they?
they might be, hopefully, because maybe those packs will come down.
I don't know. In terms of a collector's item, there are probably plenty of folk who've picked these up and will never crack them. It's the same thing that happened with Pokemon over the pandemic, right?
I don't know. That's what I was going to pick up. Pokemon, I think, do that in a lot more packs than Magic does, and so you cannot get Pokemon cards. They've completely that's all scalpers now. There's videos of people like in front of machines waiting for it to be restocked and then just immediately buying everything and
I've
just seeing a
seen
kid
that,
decide
yeah.
what to buy a packet of Pokemon cards and can't because of these scumbags.
This is the thing. We played Magic the Gathering. We enjoy it as a game. I understand when it comes to Pokemon, there are plenty of kids who will never play Pokemon or even get close to the rule set. They might, as young kids, they'll make up their own rules, as we've probably all done.
As we did when my kids. I remember doing that.
I remember doing that. But they are still, trading card games that are designed to be played. It's been a long time since Wizards have dropped the Pro Tour. From the idea of a professional Magic the Gathering player. These changes seem to be incredibly bad for these things as games, but just tremendous for them to make money. Like I don't see where this ends until it gets to the point where it's no longer a game that anyone plays, and then at which point do they still maintain their value? Because I always thought that the reason these cards maintain their value is because there was, there was an underlying, value to them, and the idea that these strong, powerful cards that were extremely rare were also people wanted them to play them. I always thought that helped give them baseline value. Does that ever go away if the game just stops being played?
It does for that, but because those cards are rare, they keep their value.
But this is artificial scarcity, though. So
there's no reserve list for these cards. They could print more of them if they wanted.
Yeah. Well, that's the point. These things are not inherently worth anything. I know it sounds ridiculous. We're gamers. We literally, we're gamers. We're nerds. So we spend our time, money, and effort on things that have no real world value. But this is getting out of hand.
Yeah. I mean, the One Ring sold for $2 million to Post Malone.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because he only made one of it, so it's a one-off.
Yeah, if
Now,
that's not
you can
formula, I don't know
buy
what is.
One Ring cards. I mean, it's still expensive. I don't know how expensive it is now because it get banned in Modern, but you can buy it for like, I don't know, £30-40. But the One Ring, like the serialized version, one of one, yeah, Post Malone has it, and it's like $2 million. Yeah, and I remember he was on like a couple of Magic the Gathering YouTube creators, and he was letting people hold it. I was like, I would not, even if he was like, "Oh yeah, hold it," I'd be like, absolutely not.
Is it
I'm
not
not
like
being
a guild
liable for
case?
something. It's like,
Is
I
it
don't
not
even
a
want to be in
guild
the same
case
room
has
as
been
that, my
graded?
man. I'm not being liable for a $2 million card.
No.
I wonder if he has insurance on like a piece of art or something like that.
You have to. You can't have that expensive an item and not insure it. Surely. Although it did remind me of Logan Paul during the pandemic, where he bought the box of sealed first edition Pokemon cards. Did they see that? Or does anyone remember that?
To be honest, it makes sense. I remember an influencer being, I don't want to say responsible for, but definitely somebody who helped overhype a lot of Pokemon. Was it him?
Oh, probably. I don't know if he overhyped Pokemon. It might have been, but yeah, I remember him buying a sealed set of first edition Pokemon cards, paying I think even a high 6 or 7 figures. I can't remember the exact amount he paid for it, and then cracking them and finding out that it wasn't that.
Oh my god.
Oh, did he get hit with repacks?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was the thing. I think he had it insured, so he got his money back. But it kind of tanked the grading company because they kind of graded, went, "Yep, this is definitely legit." And then yeah, cracked the packs. It was like set from like 3 years ago. It's like great.
That's another discussion, perhaps for another day, but to do with grading, because there was a huge thing to do with video game grading that cropped up for the past few years as well. About companies
Yeah, I remember
essentially
seeing.
scamming it.
Yeah, people just decided, these are worth a lot of money now. Who says? Me.
Yeah, it was a few people, basically people who are owning the grading companies are also running the auctioning companies, and also they were people who are paying for the games, so it was a sort of create an inflated market for it. Very, very dodgy stuff.
Remember when things were just made for fun?
Was there ever like a golden age? Because I remember, I'm old enough now to remember. I remember when PC gaming was dying. I remember when Call of Duty, and it was like literally the only game people gave a crap about. And
I mean, the early 2010s PC gaming was pretty bad. Not because the games on it were pretty bad, but just because everybody in the industry, unless they were dedicated to PC, just didn't want to release anything on it.
Yeah, consoles and mobile. It was all about that. Was
Yeah.
there ever an era where PC gaming was popular enough to have some real bangers, but not so popular that it was just filled with corporate crap? Did we ever get that? Did we get, or was I asleep?
We probably didn't experience it. I think that the early to mid 90s had a lot of that. Or early, or like the 90s, kind of by the time 2001, 2002 probably finished up because everybody just kind of crept onto console. And then by that point, people just started making games, even classically PC games like Battlefield, just started making them slowly more for console and PC, and then decided they didn't want to make games for PC anymore. It's crazy to think,
We
but
saw
like
that, yeah.
Steam probably saved PC gaming in a lot of ways. Like it wasn't as if it would have gone away, but if you didn't have a storefront like as big and as popular and as centralized as Steam, it could have taken maybe like another 5-10 years for PC gaming to catch up. Or
It's also a publisher as well. Steam essentially were a publisher. They kind of in an era where your Vivendi Universals and things are going out of business, and there was a monopoly happening on publisher. They were really the only open source thing available for people in the indie revolution.
yeah, I'll give credit to Microsoft as well. Like they had some of our arcades really helped early indie gaming.
Well, it helped PopCap games, right?
It did, yeah. God, when was the last time PopCap released a game? Then again, they got bought by EA, so I think we know how that story ended.
EA are fantastic at that. They have this like sixth sense for identifying talent and then just taking it out back and giving it the old jailer. I think Apex is probably the only game that they've tried to do that to and it's not worked because it's just been phenomenally successful in spite of them.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot Plants vs Zombies 3 came out last year.
You know, I was in the mood to play Plants vs Zombies the other day, and then I remembered.
Oh,
what I've
that's
done for-
why it's a tower defense. Oh, okay. Right. I remember now. I remember it came out initially in 2020. Wow. And then, oh, yeah, it's just an iOS. Yeah, forget it. Fuck that game. But yeah, it's been a while. PopCap are not like how they were. You know, they're not releasing Peggle 3, they're not releasing another Bejeweled game.
I would say a lot of Peggle's popularity really just exploded from Half-Life 2. Anyone else remember Half-Life Peggle?
I don't. I remember Peggle in World of Warcraft though.
Yeah, Peggle in World of Warcraft, fair enough, yeah, and playing that on the flight path, but this was around the time when we had the Orange Box come out and Peggle released, and it had like a Half-Life 2 set of maps, and the opening credits was the Peggle unicorn with a head crab trying to eat its brain, but impaling itself on the unicorn horn.
Ah, okay, yes, I do remember that now. Yeah.
Massively popular.
I do remember that, yeah. So that's our news. So shall we talk about Battlefield then?
How long do you have?
I'll give you 30 seconds. Everybody else is going to say another hour, but you get 30 seconds.
Oh, definitely not another hour. I need to go to bed at some point.
I've seen some gameplay. I'm not wildly. I'm not annoyed by it yet. I don't dislike it nor like it. I'm just going to say one thing, and that is, if this is yet another Battlefield game where I can't just jump into a game with X number of my friends, I'm just not going to buy it, because after the 2042 ridiculous 2042 scenario where it's like 100-man games, but you can only have you and 3 friends. Like that is just not Battlefield to me. I feel like they do everything they can to make Battlefield a game that is difficult to play. Even if it is under the hood a fun game, they just make it so difficult to actually sit down and play it with your friends. I feel like Battlefield is the one series that should be about getting an army of dads together and being terrible at a game at the same time, right?
Have they said anything about squad sizes?
From what I can see, the gameplay it looked like 4-man squads, but I don't know if that's still only all you can play.
There is a multiplayer trailer coming out on the 31st, so
Yeah, might see some more information there. Although if it's anything like the trailer from the other day, it probably won't tell you much.
Yeah, the bit of footage that leaked that none of us obviously watched, but why don't we talk about it? Like we definitely all watched it, because we definitely didn't. EA, but let's talk about it like we did.
Let's pretend.
I thought
Yeah.
I was watching a Battlefield 3 video.
It did have that look, yeah. And to give them credit, it looks like it's like knock on wood, you know, and it is an EA dice game, but it looked pretty polished. I didn't see anything like major stuttering. I mean, that guy at one point needed rates, but that's a totally different matter.
That's very likely down to server technology, though. They're famous for releasing their servers at extremely low tick rates, which
Yeah.
for the uninitiated, a tick rate is basically how many times something updates every second. And I believe BF2 was like 8 or 10 tick when it first came out. BF4 might have even been as well, which is essentially, 10 updates a second. And you need to remember that when you're firing a gun is firing like, it's firing like 20, 30 bullets a second. So it's a real dice roll whether those bullets just happen to get through or not.
Yeah, and you're seeing the game in 60 frames per second.
Yes, exactly.
So where you are putting the bullet on your frame might not be where the game registers where that bullet was fired from because it's not ticking fast enough. So even though you definitely fired that bullet, you clicked the bullet when it was on his head. If the tick rate is not ticking at that point, it can tick when it's not on his head, and you can miss.
I didn't know that.
Oh no.
Yeah, and you can be very annoyed.
That's definitely
Yeah.
why I miss.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
of course.
I believe it.
Yep.
This is a huge topic, and I find it very interesting. But it's just incredibly. This is one of the things that the console era kind of really shut down because a lot of people who played, Call of Duty and Counter Strike, they would pay extra for more expensive servers that had a better tick rate because it meant the server was more responsive. But then the console era happened and everything became peer-to-peer, which meant no servers. Everything was just you connecting to, someone else's Xbox and playing the game like that. And that really set back a lot of this technology because it was no longer needed. There was no longer people, with hosted servers. And then when we came out of that sort of dark age, we ended up with games like like the Battlefield 4 games where you were dealing with 10, 15 updates a second, which was just unplayable in a lot of cases. And I'm sure in Battlefield 2's case, people remembered you could walk up to someone, shoot them in the head. They would take their hand off their gun and slap themselves in the face as part of the animation, and then not take any damage.
Yep, I've done that before.
It's quite funny.
Yeah, that's one of the things I remember Battlefield 2. The bad things, that and the bunny hopping.
Oh God.
Gulf of Man was peak Battlefield, and I'm sick of pretending it wasn't.
Yeah, I love Golf, man. I don't care. It's not balanced. That's good.
I even have the argument that the 64 player version of that map was just worse, and you would be better having 64 people on the 32 man. I always felt that was something that was a bit off about a lot of the Battlefield games, is the maps are too big. They just needed to be a little bit more condensed.
You're probably right, but it can be frustrating when you die, get up, bang, dead, get up, bang, dead. Like you can't get into a rhythm.
Yeah, well, the primary issue that comes with is like their helicopters and stuff. You're brought back to life, and then a helicopter firing grenades out of its cannon hits you.
Yeah.
On repeat.
Yeah. Who knew that air support was so good?
Yeah, that has been an absolute story of Battlefield going from wildly overpowered to completely irrelevant. They never quite seem to get planes right in the Battlefield games, right in that sweet spot.
Yeah, it's that thing. If they got them right, like as an accurate, then there'd be no point having ground troops because they would be too good. But
Probably quite boring, yeah.
Yeah, but if they make them not powerful enough, then no one uses them because why would you use it? You just go into the ground or in a tank or whatever. So
This is game design, though, isn't it? It's this constant rock paper scissors balance struggle. Except it's not rock paper scissors. It's like this guy's got a rock and that guy's got a bazooka.
Yeah, I mean, still one of my favorite things ever is killing the planes with a tank in Battlefield 2.
Yeah.
There is nothing like it, right?
Yeah, just seeing them like diving towards you and just waiting for the perfect moment to fire your cannon.
Or sniping the pilot and then just watching the plane glide gracefully.
Yeah. And I don't know if everybody remembers those videos, but watching videos of Battlefield 3 of the A team, stalling your plane out to jump out, shoot someone with a rocket launcher, and then get back in your plane.
They call it the Rendazook, as in the Rondazook, like the rendezvous bazooka.
Yeah,
it's grown arms and legs. Just doing it was big. Now it's like get out of your plane and shoot them, and then bazooka that, then grab another plane. All the crazy stuff happens.
Yeah, people get really good at it afterwards, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like especially if a game's like a dead game, like most of the Battlefields as well, you get plenty of time to practice, and not many folk are going to stand in your way.
Yeah, I checked. I own Battlefield 5. I can't remember ever buying it. I must have got it.
Yeah, Game Pass.
I think I've got them on Game Pass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, Game Pass includes EA Play as well, so you get on that.
Yeah, I just mean like actually owning it. It was on EA's own launcher. I can't remember what it's called. Anything special now.
I think it's just called EA. EA app. It's just called EA. Yeah.
Oh, Bad Company. Can't play that anymore. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure they killed the servers.
Yeah, those servers are shut down, unfortunately. I think Hardline's gone as well.
Oh no, not Hardline.
I didn't get it. I didn't get that game. I just didn't.
I did not have a good reception.
I played the beta for it, and it's just like, I could take it or leave it. It wasn't like the Battlefield 3 beta that blew me away, but Hardline, nah.
Yeah. Oh, Battlefield 3. Oh, what a game. And the 1,000 lumens flashlights you used to get.
Oh yeah, like everyone has a sun on a gun, right?
Yeah, literally, like that was dumb. I know it's fun, but that was dumb. You should feel dumb, EA. I mean, well done, but calm the head.
Yeah, I'm going to get a bit into this here, but I'm just going to make a very straight complaint out the way this is not just Battlefield, but a lot of modern games are going, where I feel there's just a homogenization of things. Where I do remember fondly, all the old World War II games were great, and I really enjoyed them. Your Call of Duty, your Medal of Honor. But then Battlefield 5 came out, and I was like, this is World War II. I'm supposed to enjoy it, and I was like, but this is really not all that much fun. And it's because I've realised it's like the weapons are all the same. Even though they look like classic historical weapons, they just are the same, the same kind of stats, the same gameplay as a modern day, shooter. And it's all just variations on you hold down left click until the thing in front of you goes away. And it doesn't feel like any of the guns are really all that different, It's all sniper rifles are semi-automatic a lot of the time. Machine guns firing from the hip. It just feels like there's been a lot of homogenization. It's something I really want Battlefield to break away from, but I think Call of Duty has really just hammered it home, and people expect that now. They expect to pick up any gun, just hold down left click, and for people to die when they point it at them. And I think that's kind of hurting a lot of what makes like Battlefield and other shooters unique, is because the gunplay is basically just a carbon copy of everything else that's out there.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help that there's a Call of Duty game every year. So they've had all that time just to refine that gameplay. But because it's only a shooter that gets made every year, that's what everybody expects. And so they're able to kind of dictate how the market plays just through that.
There are a lot of people who buy Call of Duty and still play it. But I would say there are more people who don't. And I think we're always reminded of this when breakthrough games come out and smash the market apart, like Helldivers 2, Baldur's Gate 3, to a lesser degree Witcher. Games just shouldn't do well, come out and just completely dominate. And it goes to show that there is, a huge number of people who are interested in video games, but we do have people chasing, that Call of Duty yearly release. They want 20 million. They want 20 million sales a year, and they're more interested in copying the games that do that than having something that's unique and something that really speaks to people who are into games, because there are way more folk out there with game capable PCs than there are people who are actually buying these yearly releases, I'd wager.
Yeah, for sure. I think your problem with them doing that, and it's not to give them an excuse, but considering how much money it costs to make those things, taking a risk is super scary.
But for the same price, they could make 3, 4, 5 smaller games that are also risks, and all they need, each one of those games individually would cost a fraction of it. I think we talk about AAA games, but people are starting to talk about quadruple A games now, because the amount of time development and the number of staff you need to make these is astronomical. It's like when Marvel make a movie now, how do they make their money back given the budgets they're spending on them?
Yeah, and it can just depend. It seems that Fantastic Four is going to make them a lot, but Thunderbolts was a bomb, and
it's supposed to be a good movie.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. From what accounts,
Yeah.
Thunderbolts is a really good film. Just no one was interested.
I've watched Thunderbolts. It's quite clear that in post they've chopped it. Like it's the same with Captain America's Brave New World. I feel like these movies, because of direction, in post they were changed a lot. Now, don't get me wrong, there is an art to post. If you've ever seen what the movie Constantine was like before it was changed in post production, it was a totally different movie. Like absolutely wildly different in terms of who Constantine was as a character and the highlights of the movie. and the choices they made, in my eyes, are so good because they define what made that movie special. On the flip side of that, you end up with, the stuff they left on the cutting room floor for Thunderbolts is just wild. Like I don't know what things are supposed to look like, but honestly, it feels quite overwhelming just how snappy it moves around, and it just doesn't make any real sense. At the end of it, which is basically every DC movie that's ever been created.
Yeah. By the way, Constantine, DC film.
Technically,
Not technically, it is.
technically,
Yeah.
but if I see Wonder Woman alongside John Wick, I'm going to be real mad.
I wouldn't be.
Wonder Woman is she's
Well,
not a good
if
actor.
it's no, I don't mean that. I mean, I knew Wonder Woman. Like,
Oh,
no.
yeah, I was just going to say she can't act.
Yeah. Kal-El.
No.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Kal-El, I seen Superman on Friday. It's really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really, I'd heard a lot of bad things about it. I've seen almost unanimously negative things about it, strangely enough.
I think it's one of those ones that everyone wants to hate, like rather than just looking at it objectively.
Yeah. If you want a film that's kind of hopeful and not just like usual kind of bitter, like superhero, yeah, Superman's good.
We're really coming out of the end of the gritty realism era and back into the I just want a movie that makes me feel like the world isn't ending.
Hopefully. I mean, I haven't seen anything for it, but I imagine that's what a lot of Fantastic Four is like as well, because I'm Fantastic Four family. Like, it would make sense.
Mm.
I will need to go see it. I also need to see 28 Years Later, which is it's a crime that I haven't yet.
Yeah, me and Jacob have seen that.
Yep.
It is. I really liked it, but that was quite divisive as well.
Yeah, just don't go in with a baguette, Frank.
Okay.
Have you seen it, Pete?
I've not, but I've heard of that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not interested in, unless it's got Resident Evil in the name, I'm not interested in a zombie film. But yeah, I heard about that.
Okay.
I feel like 28 Days Later is an exception, though. Good, proper, classic cult, British-made movie. Filmed on a toaster.
Yeah, made for nothing.
I mean, yeah, have you seen how the quality of that film these days is really bad?
Yeah. Yeah.
I imagine it's been upscaled and everything to try and help it, but did he pee on every roll of film when he was filming it?
It was deliberately shot like that. Like, they used a crappy camera for it to make it feel a bit more like realistic, and then they carried that over into 28 years later and shot it all on iPhones. But it does look quite fancy on the iPhones, to be fair.
Yeah, technology's got to that point.
It's interesting because I saw an advert saying filmed on an iPhone, and it was the advert, except it was literally like a 30-second advert, and the whole thing was just a black screen with people talking. I'm like, this is really not a good advert for iPhones.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to do something, don't you, at this point? To be unique.
Or bought and paid for.
I mean, yeah, that as well. But yeah, you need to hurry up if you're going to watch 20 Years Later, because the next one's coming out like 5 months.
Yeah, I think it's February. That's due.
There's another?
Yeah, it's a trilogy. Wow, a new trilogy.
They filmed 2 back to back.
Do I hold off then? That's the question.
No.
Could be an idea.
Jacob says no.
I've been doing that
you
with
got
the
to see
Dune
it.
movies, to be fair. I still haven't seen either of them. So, is there going to be a third Dune movie? Should I just wait for that?
Yeah, you might as well.
It's a strange one because I felt like the second movie contained movies 2 and 3. I felt like they were rushing them, but clearly they've got more bigger plans. You can just watch the first movie and love it.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of books they can keep going on. The books just keep getting weirder though. I won't get into them, but yeah, the books get very, very weird at some point. Horny as well.
Weird. All sci-fi ends up going that way, right? That's just sci-fi. Like sci-fi goes one of 2 ways. It either goes into horror or it goes into budget porn.
Yeah. Fantasy does that as well, to be fair.
Did it start as anything else though?
It's a very good question.
We've all seen what people wear for armor in fantasy settings.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will get it first ascendant again, but yeah, ridiculous. I think that maybe concludes our Battlefield talk, unless anybody else wants to specifically talk about anything else about it.
I'm just going
You
to
don't have time.
reserve judgment, I think. Right, and see what all the streamers are saying when it comes out. Actually, I'll probably just see what Tony says, because I bet he gets it. Oh, I think he was talking about pre-ordering it, actually.
I was literally about to say I'm not pre-ordering it.
Does he understand that he is what's wrong with the world? All of it. Just all of it.
I don't think he cares.
I want to see what.
Tony, we could blame war, we could blame famine, we could blame multinational corporations, but it's your fault.
Yeah, it's definitely Tony's fault.
Phil and Tony pre-ordering literally everything. It's almost as bad as Zen's ability to buy every remake of everything and then not even play it most of the time. Stop encouraging it. We want new stuff.
He does love buying things and then not using them.
And
like he doesn't play for like 3 years later. He's like, "Oh, I'm really glad I played this." I was like, "Yeah, but you paid full price for it. You could have got it on Steam sale like 6 months ago for a third of the price."
Sometimes you just got to play things on day one.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It is a thing. Yeah, there is plenty of stuff that I know. If I don't play this when it comes out now, I'll not get to it.
Well, if
Even
I
if I buy it later, I
pre-order
won't
it, then I won't forget to buy it.
I mean, that's also true because they can only make so many copies of a digital game.
Yeah.
Well, if they run out.
Is Tony really going to pay, what's it, 70 odd quid the next Battlefield game's going to come out as? Or
Tony says 2 seconds and I'll go pre-order a fuck to give.
I really need a good comeback for that, but it's not. It's not hitting home, and I'm quite unhappy about this. I need something. I need a zinger.
I can just imagine Tony chuckling to himself right now that he literally stunned you into silence.
I can imagine his shit-eating grin is what I can imagine.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I want to say about Battlefield, NoClip has a new documentary out talking about the Battlefield 3 storyline. And it kind of glazes the storyline. No, that game was bad. When that game was amazing, second player was awful. Stop pretending it wasn't. It was bad. Just move on.
It was weird. I played through all of it, and I think the only reason I'd done that is because I had nothing else to do.
Oh, hated it. I was hate playing it at the end of it. Oh, they talked about the bomb going off in Paris. Just like, oh, it was really... No, it wasn't. It was bad. I'm not going into it, but it was bad. Battlefield 3 single player was bad. Multiplayer was amazing. Single player was bad. I will not be taking comments on this. But yeah, is there anything else that wants to bring up with Battlefield, or shall we call it a podcast?
A podcast and a half, I think.
I think so. I think we've come in slightly shorter on the runtime this time as well, so we're getting tighter.
Yeah.
Only an hour and a half.
It's been a busy couple of weeks, let's be honest. The world is in a gaming sense / internet sense, kind of caught fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember when that used to happen every 6 months. Now it's every 6 days.
I mean, it's content, right? Get on and farm.
Right. That's been the JumpCrouch podcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching. No stream this weekend, have you?
No, I should be streaming this weekend. I don't think I have plans. Let me consult my calendar.
Okay. If you are streaming this weekend, where could you possibly find it?
I will be streaming this weekend because I have no plans. So I will be on Twitch, Starbuck_C17, and I'll be playing some more Stray.
Fantastic. So if you want to see more dystopian cat game, go watch that. It's a good time for a good game. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Jacob, for joining us.
He's
No.
barely even here.
You just woke him
I think
up.
he's on his chair. Did I wake you up?
Yeah, to run into
Wait, where am I?
I specifically did that because I don't think you've talked in about half an hour.
Because he hasn't watched anything to do with Battlefield 6, that's why.
He's too busy Googling how to
He's
install
not
it.
I have a lot to say about it.
What's your favourite Battlefield games? Like, how much? What Battlefield games did you play a lot, Jacob?
Definitely Battlefield 3.
Have you played any Battlefield games?
Yeah, I was about to just kind of go on there.
Played 3, 4, Bad Companies 1 and 2, 1, 5, and 2042.
Okay, so he has played some. Oh yeah, you've played 2042 with me, I think, haven't you?
Yo, he announced
Well,
it
it
in
was
release order. I
more
think he just
Battlefield.
Googled Battlefield.
Yeah.
I don't need to prove anything to you.
It's like, I played Battlefield. Battlefield is a first shooter game to use 5 days.
Yes, it's definitely a game that came out on yeah.
He knows oddly specific things about it. The release date, pre-order numbers.
Oh, Vietnam. There's a game I've not. Yeah, that was a bad game.
Oh, yeah. Didn't happen. Move on.
Yeah. So, thank you for joining us, Jacob. Thank you for joining us, Frank. Thank you,
Cool.
Abby.
A pleasure.
We shall see you hopefully in 2 weeks. Sorry, we didn't have a show last week. Everyone was busy doing various things. But hopefully we're back in 2 weeks. If not, then we'll see you when we see you. So thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Ta-ta.
Bye-bye.